joining us this afternoon. My name is John, and we have District 3 candidate Lisa Muetterties here with us. And first off, I'd like to say thank you for running. And anybody who cares enough about their community to run, my hat's off. And I mean that sincerely. And I think that, you know, people have to run for the right reasons. And the interesting thing is, you know, it's a big job, but also thank you. You know, people don't run for just haphazard reasons unless you think you can actually make a difference. And thank you for running.
Thank you.
All right, we've got 5 questions for you. To start off with question number 1, what life experiences have you had that have led you to feel so passionately about District 3 that you are running for office, and what has been your life journey to come to this point of running for office?
Okay, so I have 4 generations of family living here in Calaveras County in District 3. My parents, myself, my kids, and my grandchildren. And that is important to me. I invested in our communities. I care about all 4 generations and moving forward. We've lost a lot of services that represent our grandchildren in preschools and our elderly parents and elderly services, and then our children as well, as far as trying to figure out ways to bring affordable housing. Being a realtor, I feel like I can bring some context to that. As far as experiences that led me here, I have served in a capacity of a state director for the California Associations of Realtors. And in that capacity, it's set up very much like the structure, the way the county runs. We would work on private property rights, meet with our legislators. There were 1,100 directors while I was serving, and I was fortunate enough to be elevated in that process. And I was able to serve on the executive committee. I was a regional chair of 7 counties. I served chaired the land use committees, and I also served as an impact trustee. So those things kind of set me in motion with the legislative arena. Then I did a lot of things at home that I'm very passionate about. I've got 30 years of community service, volunteering in our community. So that also helped, but I also served on the Planning Commission for 4 years.
Question 2.
Okay.
Do you think our county is healthy and successful? If yes, explain. If not, what would you do to change it?
I think our county is amazing, and yes, I think it's healthy, and I think it's great. And I have been, my campaign position was, I think we are one of the greatest counties. I traveled all over the state serving as a state director, and it was always great to come back home. I think that there is always something that we can do better. So is there programs that I want to work on? Is there things I want to see better? There is. Probably, and I've got several issues that are passionate to me, but probably my number one would be helping our county staffing levels, finding ways to staff the departments, because we have employees doing the jobs of 3 people. It's a lot of stress. And then we have the public coming to the counter and wondering why they're not happy. Well, if they could take some of that load off, they would be easily coming to the counter with a smile. They'll be able to more efficiently do their jobs, process things better. And I see that in all departments. Anywhere that you go in the county, right now, they're understaffed. It's a problem throughout the state, but I would like to see us bring our staffing levels up at the county, because I think that's going to be the biggest thing that's going to make us more productive and be better.
Question 3. What's more important for our county right now? Building new homes and commercial space, or rehabbing, expanding, better utilizing our existing homes and storefronts? Add to the housing affordability crisis in our county, and in particular District 3, what ideas do you have to create opportunities for people who live and work in Calaveras to have affordable housing?
Okay, so I think all of the above are important. I think that rehabbing is fantastic. Obviously, it's cheaper to rehab. I think doing conversions on properties is even a good thing, because we can provide some affordable housing if we take some of these buildings and do some conversions on them. And when you talk about it being District 3, this is This is more of a county issue, not just a District 3 issue. So overall, I think we need to be looking at the housing altogether. When we build a new home, we create new tax revenue, which helps our budget at the county. When we rehab a building, it lifts the face front up and makes us better, you know? But as far as when we go into the affordable housing, I see a lot of different things we can be doing. We have R2 and R3 zones pretty much in a lot of places, but we have a lot of it in the District 3 area. For an example, I have a contractor that right now is trying to build on R3. He wants to do a triplex. Triplexes are great for affordable housing options because they're investment properties. You've got 3 units, 1 piece of property, they're more affordable, and I think we need to find ways to make that happen. When he went to the county to get his R3 zoning and get building, he found out you got to have sewer and water. You can't do it with a septic. I think we need to be looking at that process and opening it up a little bit and saying, hey, look, we want to do an accessory dwelling unit. It's for my in-laws, but eventually the in-laws are no longer with us and now we have an empty unit. Accessory dwelling units are, through the state law, was mandated for those full-time living, for your children, for your in-laws. They weren't built for short-time rentals. And I think if we're going to allow the accessory dwellings to be built, we need to say they are full-time. They cannot be short-term rentals, and that will add to the full-time housing market. It might take time for it to happen because when it's first built, it's going to be for the family needs. But we can do that. We can build on the R2, R3s. We can look at doing conversions on buildings. Our county owns a lot of buildings, especially in the San Andreas area. And instead of renting to somebody for $1 a month, we pull it back. We make conversions. We put in apartments, a livable space. The state welcomes conversions. I mean, that's something that our state will support and back up. So I think we need to be looking in those terms. I have served on a housing affordability committee for a long, long time. I'm concerned about our county getting properly staffed, having housing for those workers and the affordable workers. We have grants, we have programs for low income. We don't have anything that supports our workforce. And we need to work towards that. One of the things that I had talked about was with the short-term rental TOT tax. It's been doubled. We're bringing in a lot more money. I think we need to be setting some of that aside for affordable housing programs. And when you apply for a grant, you have to have some sort of a matching fund typically. And we're not preparing for that. So if we start preparing, it might not happen tomorrow, but at least our future is moving in the right direction towards providing housing for our workforce. I would love for it to be a benefit program to employees, like their retirement plan, matched funds, you know, then they're contributing and they feel like they're earning it, they're working towards it, and providing home ownership for them. Once they have a home, not just a rental, they own a home, they're vested in our community. That's how we all get started. So I would really like to see that take place. I mean, obviously it would have to be vetted through legal counsel and things like that. I don't want to get beat up later, oh, you can't do that for some reason. I know the process, but why can't we start talking about it? Why can't we start learning about it? Why can't we start implementing some policies to make things change?
Thank you.
Yes.
Question 4. What do you want to make sure voters know about you?
Okay. So obviously I've lived in the county for some time, and I know my district, but more importantly, I know my county. And I won't be just voting for District 3. I will be voting to represent the entire county. When I served on the Planning Commission, and I think this is really important, we had a general plan that was 21 years old. And it was really hard to get projects through because it wasn't defensible. It was hard to get grants because we didn't have a current plan. So we spent 2 years updating that general plan while I was on the Planning Commission, and I participated in that process of line by line for 2 years until we went through the whole process and we got it off to the EIR and the CEQA review. Through that process, I learned so much about my county. You can't even imagine what you can learn when you go line by line on the general plan. You learn about land use, you learn about zoning, you learn about fire, you learn about inundation zones and water. And so it encompassed so much of learning about Calaveras County.
Almost parcel by parcel, huh?
It is parcel by parcel, and we did look at zonings, and I was a big promoter of protecting property rights through that process, because the state wanted us to put a lot of properties into resource production, which means now you can do nothing with it but graze it, no building on it. And so there were several of us that voted to say, hey, you get to keep your property rights. Some, they didn't show up, they didn't have an opinion one way or the other, but for the most part, I think that process taught me a lot. One of the other things that I want people to know about me, and I wish I wasn't talking about this because I've been attacked by my supporters, I feel I need to put this out there. I did not change my registration to run for supervisor. I have been an undecided voter for at least 9 years. The state legislature said, we're going to tell you who to vote for based on your party registration 9 years ago. And I said, no, you're not. I will pick who I want. I will study my candidates, and it doesn't matter which side of the fence they are. I want who's best for the job. And so I changed to an undecided voter. I'm not left or right. I'm right down the middle. And there's one video on the Planning Commission where I said, look, we sit left and right on this room. Let's stop. Let's come to the middle together, and let's try and work together. That's my goal here. I want to see people come together. I'm not running for this job to represent one side or the other. I'm not interested in doing that. I am here to represent everybody, all of us. This is our county. This is where our families live. This is where we're all vested. And I think we need to be working together to accomplish these things. So that's one part I wanted to clear up. And I know it's a nonpartisan position. I wish that we didn't get judged by that, but we do. And we need to stay nonpartisan. And I will be the candidate I'm going to be the supervisor that's going to stay nonpartisan. Then the other thing that I want to say is that I'm very passionate about Calaveras County. I think I proved that for the 4 years that I was on the Planning Commission. I care about where we live. I love where we live. I've been here for 39 years, and I want to be a part of moving Calaveras County forward. I want my children and my grandchildren to be proud of Calaveras County in 20 years from now. The other thing that I will say about myself is that I am in a position, my husband and I both own a business, and in that business we have been very blessed to be able to stay here as many years. I mean, he's had the business a long time, and so I'm in a position to be able to break free from that. I'm in a position to go and represent Calaveras County. I don't have any other jobs that I'm going to be held to. I have no conflicts of interest with public paid jobs or committees or organizations. I will be 100% committed to being the supervisor to District 3. I answer my emails. I participate in social media when I feel it's necessary. I answer my phone calls. My personal cell is out there for everybody to call. Thank goodness for unlimited minutes. And I'm here. I am here for the duration. I'm not going anywhere. And so I just want everybody to know that I want to represent and I want to do what's right for Calaveras County and District 3.
Thank you. Question 5. What neighborhood do you live in, and why? Where do you? What are your favorite places to spend time in Calaveras County and in District 3?
Okay, so I live in Arnold, and I lived in Dorrington for 10 years. I've lived in Arnold for 29 years. So I am from the Upper Highway 4 corridor. I now own property in Douglas Flat, so I'm vested at both ends of District 3. Where do I love to spend my time? I actually am fortunate to live across the street from one of the entrances to the Arnold Rim Trail. And I love the Arnold Rim Trail. My husband and I ride our bikes out there. We hike out there. It's transitioned through the years from when my kids were little. They were able to ride, motorcycles and things out there. That's no more. Now we have a great group of volunteers that have turned it into an absolutely phenomenal 16 miles of hiking trails. It's heavily used. It's wonderful. So that's probably one of my favorite areas. But my most favorite, I'm going to go to White Pines, and I'll tell you that I raised my kids at that park, at that lake. Now we go there with the grandkids. Tim and I love to kayak and paddleboard out there. White Pines is near and dear to my heart, and like I said, I've got a lot of community service hours out there. I started a parade at White Pines 2014, and it was a lighted parade at Christmas. We didn't have anything like that in Arnold, and I don't have an organization behind me. I just do this because I wanted a light show and I wanted a parade. And so I went to business owners and I said, hey, you want to sponsor? Let's do this. Let's make this happen. So we did. It turned into an absolutely awesome event. COVID hit and we had to cancel 1 year. The next year, I know it was still under COVID conditions, but we were trying to find ways we could do it safely and get everybody out of the house, get everybody outside. So went to the owners and said, I have a proposition. It's going to be very expensive, but if y'all are willing, when we all pitch in together, we can make it happen. So we did a laser light show over White Pines Lake, and it was $15,000, but it brought the largest group of people ever out into the outdoors, into the forest, and it was amazing. So we stacked up on the beach and everybody got to watch this laser light show. We had a professional company come. I know there's some people that really missed the parade, but it was nice not to have to close down the road and to just everybody be able to gather. And the neat thing about White Pines is there's parking everywhere. You know, it's a great venue. And so I was pretty proud of that, and so I think White Pines, if you said to me, White Pines Lake and Park area I'm passionate about it, and I will always be ready to volunteer there. And I just want to say one last thing about the volunteers in our community. They are in abundance, and they're amazing, and I love them all. And when we were going through COVID, one of the things that was super cool was the Calaveras Highway 4 cleanup crew. Cannot give them enough kudos for what they did in helping everything, because we've seen record numbers of people up in District 3 during COVID, and I mean huge numbers. We could not go to the lake because it was completely packed. So those people kept our community clean, and the efforts going forward were fabulous. And so those are some of my highlight places in District 3. There's so many places that I love. I mean, I love New Maloney's Lake. We had a boat out there on the lake for many, many years. We don't anymore, but there's so much about Calaveras County that you just can't get enough of it. And we have 4 seasons that are beautiful, so I'm a big promoter. Sorry. So that's where I'm at with all that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time you spent with us, and we
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Okay.
Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.